Hello. So, expanding on previous idea, I've two insights. So, uh, surprisingly, uh, kind of picking up on what the previous idea was, which was need to um, embrace and do what um, you like truly want, right? And in my case, it was I want to rest, right? I'm super tired. I need to rest. Ironically, doing that and just sticking to that has actually made me do the opposite. Very counterintuitively, for some reason, I had this autistic urge to pick up on like a programming course that I don't know, um, just something that would make me a better programmer. Just for some reason, I naturally was like, I want to learn some shit relating to programming, which is something that generally doesn't happen. You would think of learning as a tool to achieve your goals, as a means to an end. But here, I just genuinely had a curiosity to learn. Um, and I ended up giving in to that curiosity. And by trying to just, by following, just do what the fuck I want and try to be really pay attention to what I want and try to just do it without thinking, I ended up doing quite a lot of things today. I ended up coding a lot. I ended up learning a lot. I ended up uh, editing some things on a lot of metrics, even whichever way you kind of measure it. Today was a W. And that was kind of surprising, I guess. Um, but one of the main things is I had a massive influx of energy. It wasn't that I felt like tired and I was just slowly doing the things and then sluggishly, somehow got through the day. It was like I had a crazy influx of energy. I was almost like a amphetamine junkie, just fucking spamming like even the way I did the courses was full like amphetamine junkie or whatever. Like I was playing music, something like this, was blasting it, and I was watching the videos and just speedrunning through them because I
And
was I don't know, I was just like super wired into getting it done quickly. Uh, I don't know, I just didn't have any patience to slowly watch the video. I was like, I want to learn it, I want to learn it right now. And uh, yeah, I've not experienced this level of energy for quite a long time, and it was um, maybe it was related to another thing. Um, I've basically said fuck you to another thing, which was another byproduct of me just fucking being honest. But whatever. Uh, that's kind of interesting how that played out. We'll see how that will keep playing out. But one of the main things I'm kind of starting to be aware of is it is I'm unable to notice what do I want at a given moment. Like, yes, there are times where it's super clear what I want. It's like, oh, I want an ice cream. Boom, that's super simple. But beyond some moments where it's super obvious, a lot of the time it doesn't actually. Um, I'm not able to interpret it accurately. So, for example, um, like my brain will slip into a state will feel like I'm down regulating. I'm slightly turning off, right? And the way I would interpret that usually is like, oh, I'm getting bored. I need more stimulation. But what if that uh, down regulation is actually the opposite? Like what you actually want is you just want to rest. It's like kind of the idea from yesterday. Like what if you are just down regulating because your brain is getting tired and you don't understand what it means to be tired, so you read the signal and interpret it as, oh, you're starting to get tired? That means I need to find another more stimulating activity to uh re-engage him. And that kind of applies to um this will seem very far-fetched, but I'm not trolling. Meaning of life. Yes, we're going there. So, and I'm not here to discuss what's the meaning of life. I'm gonna discuss exactly how people engage and why do people even care about this shit. And the insight I have right now is, let's say you have a meaning number one, right? Which is, it could be something trivial, I don't know. I want to impress this person, or I just want to do this, right? And, or okay, yeah, actually, yeah, we'll go with that. Let's say you're a kid. Like, usually, everything works from like one root meaning of, I'm a kid, I saw this, it's interesting, I want to do this, right? And generally, as we grow older, our justifications for why we want things become more complex. For example, I want this because that means that I get this. And I want to get this because of uh, this. And, as we grow older, as we grow a bit more complex, generally, what you'll find is there's super long, clusterfuck, convoluted chains of meaning. And you'll be like, oh, why do you go to work? Because I want to provide for my family. Why do you want to provide for my family? Because I think that is the right thing to do. Okay, I'm not attacking those things. I'm just kind of trying to run through the chain of like a typical person, right? You can have whatever meaning. I don't care. I'm not attacking them. And then it's like, why are you trying to cater to society? Oh, because blah 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 blah, right? And the thing about that is that could be completely mapped out to the exactly the same behavior of um, trying to override down regulation. So you are unable to like imagine like why do people even go through these chains? What if we didn't do this, right? What if we just didn't do this? Or if you were to take it away from a person who does this, then life will uh they will no longer be able to justify um or how should I say, the thing that they get from their actions or the amount of energy that they need to put in to maintain their level of current progress or sustain it will become, one second, I'm being distracted. um how should I say, I'll visually describe this. So you need to have some sort of a level of pressure, um or level of let's just say stimulation, because stimulation and pressure are kind of the same thing, which is why I'll go with stimulation because it's a little bit similar here. So the stimulation will drive your it will be it can be used as energy, or it can be converted into energy to do things, right? It can be converted into focus or something like that, right? Let's say you're super engaged with something, is super stimulating, or if something is super stimulating, it's going to be engaging, and if it's engaging, it's going to be easy to focus, right? So stimulation can directly map into focus, or um, in a linear way, it can map into focus. Maybe not directly, but and for you to and you might have, why do you need focus? Because you're trying to get a certain output, right? You're trying to learn something, you're trying to read a book, you're trying to finish some task or an activity, you're trying to accomplish some goal, right? And you might be attached to this kind of similar situation where I was. Like, I want to uh, be more of a active person. I want to feel more alive. I want to feel uh, get more things done. But I didn't feel like strong enough stimulation to do them or from doing them. And a lot of the time we want the output, and our stimulation starts to um, go down, right? Imagine you have a deadline to finish some piece of work and you have 12 hours, right? And on hour two, you're starting to get a little bit tired. You're starting to a little bit get bored and drift away. What do? You drink a coffee. You eat some sugary food. You turn on some loud music. You maybe have a little hype talk with yourself. Like, I need this. I'm running out of time. Blah, 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 right? What are you doing by that? You're upping the dose of your stimulation to be able to match the level of focus that you would need to get that desired result. You're trying to get 12 hours of work in for whatever reason, and to do that, you need to constantly reduce yourself. Maybe you'll take a break for 5 minutes, watch some, I don't know, whatever motivational video or something like that, whatever the fuck you need, right? But you will reduce your, not reduce, I mean reduce. Maybe my pronunciation isn't so good, right? So it's kind of like I have one cup of coffee, and then I have another cup of coffee, and then I have another cup of coffee, right? And I try to kind of suspend my natural decline of this, try to offset my tiredness, right? And that's kind of starting to look really similar to what people do with their meaning of life. When you're a kid, you have one simple meaning of life, and you don't need all of those reducers. You don't need all of those things on top of it. And as you start losing, um, as stops working as hard or stops being as strong, to try to compensate for it, we try to find something new. And that's kind of natural to the human brain. If one strategy isn't working, then we find another strategy. But what's the problem? What is the problem in this? It's that all of these are short-term strategies. Uh, like spamming more coffee. It's like, oh, I've drank more some coffee, and I'm starting to get tired. If I drink some more coffee, I'll feel less tired. But the problem is that's a short-term solution that uh, will have a diminishing level of return on each iteration, which means that by the time I'm on my 100th iteration, the amount of coffee I need compared to my first rejuice is going to be dramatically more. It might take me now like very strong coffee, or it might take me a coffee pill, or maybe it will or and the same doses will have different smaller effect because my system is naturally adapting against it, right? So it's this idea about how do I explain it? It's like a rubber band. Our nervous system is very adaptive, and if you try to tension it in one direction, then it will just adapt and move. And if you want to keep it tense forever, that you've got a very difficult task ahead of yourself, right? It's like it's like every single day you need to sleep for some time, right? If you don't sleep and you try to offset your sleep, that does that remove the need for sleep? No. Right. And how does this apply to meaning of life? People try to find, or at least myself, uh, but I think it applies to everyone else also, try to find a new, more updated, stronger, more appealing, more aesthetic uh, justification for why they need to live their life and be excited about life just to offset the loss of enthusiasm or loss of stimulation that they're naturally experiencing. And the thing about it is, by drinking coffee, you actually suspend the period of true rest. Because let's say you're like an average person who, I know there's some like differences with how different people react to coffee, but let's say you are the type of person who drinks coffee and has the like traditional effect, which is it just blocks your sleepiness. And okay, let's say you're super tired and you drink some coffee. Are you able to fall asleep after drinking some coffee? No, because you have blocked the uh, whatever chemical is responsible for feeling tired. So by suspending it, by re buffing it, we actually prevent a natural relapse or a natural rebound that would have allowed us to recover in the first place. Which is why uh, this whole idea about uh, trying to find the meaning of life always ends up in depression, with no exceptions. Because the reason why people search for meaning of life is because they are trying to rebuffer their original meaning because it has lost pressure or appeal, and they try to find something stronger and more meaningful. And when that eventually starts to fail, just same how you'll get tired every single day, you get tired of all ideas eventually. Then what do? They search for another meaning of life. And the the more you search for it, the more actively and the more you depend on this, the more like your energy relies on these mechanisms, the faster this process will happen. So the more you search for the meaning of life, the more you will have to keep searching for the meaning of life. Because you will get bored of your previous meaning faster compared to some people who don't need to update. People that don't think about it never need to think about it. And people that do think about it need to always think about it. And the moment they stop, they become dysfunctional and they become this depressed meatball that can't be fucked doing anything. Why do they become this depressed meatball? Because they're in the rebound um, system. Imagine if you didn't sleep for years and you just abused every single like if you abused coffee or opium or any form of like drugs to get yourself to sleep, and you started getting off them, aka that person stopped searching for meaning of life, then your system is going to take some time to adjust to the lack of the rebuffers. And that adjustment period is going to be followed by the biggest dip you have ever experienced, which is why um, it's so hard to get off it. It becomes a form of behavioral addiction. And um, where was I going with this idea about meanings? Um, or why did I even go there? The reason why people do this is because they're unable to diagnose or they're unable to read the true reason why they're losing pressure. And in most cases, the reason they're losing pressure, or at least for me, that is true, I don't know how it is for others, is because they're doing the opposite action. So again, let's say you're doing something and you're starting to get tired. Don't look for a way to find more energy. Look for a way to let yourself be tired and rest. Like in reading those signals and interpreting them in a way that, oh, I'm starting to get tired. I mustn't be tired. I don't know where this comes from. I will think about it later. But we have this natural rejection of whatever direction our body's going into if we allowed ourselves to go into that. So, for example, what I have found in my uh, most desperate, most extreme moments in life where I have just given up, I always those moments where I completely let go of myself are always followed by extreme growth. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna go into details in them. Let's just say if you are at a really low point in your life, let yourself be. And then that freedom from allowing yourself to give up will likely shift your life enough to kind of slingshot and go in the opposite direction. If it feels like you're fighting against something all the time, that means that you are imagine like an elastic band, right? That means that you're pulling it in one direction and it's creating resistance because it's attached here. And if you let go of it, uh, yeah, it's gonna rebound. Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty strong rebound. But, um, I mean, imagine if it's like a spring. It also is going to bounce back. And maybe, uh, how should I say? Elastic band is kind of a bad example for this visually. Think of it as waves. How do I draw waves? Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, something like this. Imagine this is waves. And whatever. I'm not gonna visually explain it. Basically, the more you try to fight something, the more you prevent it from being able to rebound naturally, and rebounding naturally might actually make it naturally go in the opposite direction to where it, how should I say? Let's say you have a spring and it's anchored here, and you've been pulling it so much in this direction. If you were to let go, yeah, it's gonna go here for some time, but then it's going to spring back. And when it springs back, if you were to start pulling it while it has momentum going in this, then you're gonna be uh, moving with the momentum. But if you were to let it go, but if you were to keep pulling, then eventually the tension in the spring is going to start going in the opposite direction. And if you start pulling it, you get to a point of stagnation, or where it takes you tremendous amount of effort just to keep the spring suspended. But if you were to let go and then move with the momentum, then it would be powerful again, or in that direction, whatever. It's, I will think of a better. Actually, I won't think of a better example. I can't be bothered. But yeah, spring is a bad example, but it works in kind of that way. It's like the gym. Like if you were to exercise at the gym every single day and do it for many, many hours, then you are actually hindering your muscle gains because you're not letting your body rest. It's the same concept. Um, so yeah, um, ironically, we need to be able to relinquish control to actually have control in the long run. By not being able to relinquish control, we sacrifice our long-term ability to control. Or how should I say, we create less leverage on the amount of effort we put in. Which is why you can't really willpower yourself into having strong results. It just doesn't work. You need to work with the waves. When the tide comes, you go with the tide. It's like surfing. Like when the tide is going in one direction, you surf in that direction. When the tide is going in another direction, you surf in the other direction. You don't try to do it against the tide. It just doesn't really work. Okay. Um, was there like a grand point I was trying to make? Meaning of life is the same as this. Its inability to see. Your down stimulation is just a sign that your wave is starting to go the other way. And it's not an invitation for you to challenge yourself and try to force um, whatever you're trying to do. It's often the other way around, which is why we can have responses to things that are often exactly the opposite of what we should be doing. And my take on this is I'm now paying attention and trying to really understand how my body feels. In a sense that, am I feeling tired or am I feeling excited? And if I'm feeling tired, then I want to allow myself to be tired. If I'm feeling excited, then I will, do things that go well with the excited state. But if I am starting to feel tired, I will try my best to not force myself to be excited. And vice versa. If I'm excited, try not to force myself to be tired. Even though generally we don't have such problems. When we're excited, everything's good, and when we're tired, it's like, oh no. And then we try to break it, right? But yeah, I think I've explained the idea. That's kind of my current take on this. And the amount of energy I got was like uh today was honestly not comparable to anything. S- I don't know. I I will see more so over time. Either I have two versions of this right now. Either A, I've just set myself like a really good baseline by trying all the other things. Um, or B, um, this thing that I did now has just was the only thing that had impact. We will see. Um, okay, I think that was all. Goodbye.